I'll tell you a story about a man named Bill. A story that will shake you, awaken up your will. A story about a pathway that led him to see there's more to medicine than just allopathy. He found synthetics were all wrong. He saw that allopathy was also wrong. Conclusion was for everyone to see the only medicine was naturopathy. Naturopathy. Bill saw synthetics were used to control the flow of cash and profit, the investment of the dough. The interest was in money, not the people's health. The interest was to increase the drug company's wealth. Bill saw synthetics were all wrong, but to prove it was a work oh so long. If a wrong that a man should see, if he doesn't correct it, a man he cannot be.
Homeopath, oh homeopath. Homeopath, oh homeopath.
Homeopath, homeopath, yours is the path, oh homeopath, that we will follow, homeopath, yours is the path.
The flow of time, the flow of energy. Very interesting how here in Budapest, Hungary, where freedom was so deprived not too long ago, now a newfound freedom fills the land. A newfound freedom of expression. Places like America that once were free, now are not so free. Because now there is restriction in their expression. In America, if you try to express yourself about natural medicine, you could be persecuted, prosecuted, and antagonized, as many people tyrannize the minds of men. I left America to find freedom, a freedom that I found in Budapest, along with a lot of new friends and some interesting experiences. My life in medicine has led me to one basic conclusion, that natural medicine and natural pharmacology works. I'm haunted by the ideas of the past and how I've seen some of the damages done by synthetic drugs. Oh, excuse me, I'm Bill Nelson. This is a story, a part of my life. I left America to find freedom, but the persecution has followed me, found me, and I'm ready to give up. It's been too much to bear. But this is the end of our story. Let me go back now to the beginning. Breast cancer, horrendous disease. Here we have a young girl afflicted. Chemotherapy was discovered from natural medicines. Natural medicines that fought cancer. Chemotherapy was then derived from these natural medicines. But yet no study had ever been done on natural versus the synthetic chemotherapy. No study, that is, until we did our study in Kiev. And when we did our study, we found not only was the natural medicine much more safe, but it was dramatically more effective. This created a problem for the drug companies, but it is the beginning of our story. Well, Dr. Nadra is supposed to see you today, and they've asked me to see you. I'm the new kid on the block. I'm an American, and I'm over here doing some research, doing some things, and just what can I do for you today?
Just a checkup.
A checkup?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I see there's a little stain on your dress, and according to my report, that you have some cancer.
what they tell me. They tell me that I'm going to die of cancer.
Are you afraid?
Yeah, I am.
Well, you don't have to be afraid. I can help you. We've helped many other people. But I want you to tell me more about this fear.
I'm really afraid. They say that there's no hope. It's too late. There's nothing that they can do. Well, what can you do that they can already?
We can help you. But I want you to relax, and I want you to get rid of this fear, because this fear is your worst enemy. I want you to focus in. I'm going to help you. I'm going to ask you to do some things. But you can help yourself. And you can help yourself by first getting in touch with your fear and getting rid of it. Because this fear is an enemy. I want some positive mind. I want a positive focus from you. And I can help you, and you can help yourself. We've helped many people to beat this, and I know that I can help you. Do you believe me?
I believe you.
Is that a tear? Can I have that tear?
You can't have a tear. You can only borrow one.
Well, I'm going to help you, and you're going to help yourself. And I know we're going to beat this. I've seen it happen many times. There's one thing in the world more powerful than all the armies. They're calling me to a meeting, but I will be back. I'll make some recommendations. We'll go over this. But I have to go to a meeting right now.
Well, tell me more about this Jessica case. I just saw Jessica, and she was supposed to see you.
Yes. She has breast cancer, as you probably know.
I saw the path report.
We were going to put her on chemotherapy, but her mother insisted that we try an alternative.
So that's why I sent her to me, because I'm doing the natural medicine research, yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Well, we've had some real good success. One of the reasons I've come to Budapest is to study natural medicine. And maybe we can go to lunch and I'll tell you more.
Okay.
There's some real problems with the synthetic chemicals. There's real problems with the antibiotics. There was a drug called thalidomide. It was a morning sickness pill produced in France, sold around the world. And children were born with horrendous defects. Children were born with flippers instead of arms. You remember the story?
Heard about it, of
course. What happened was I was teaching at Youngstown State University, and I was teaching mathematics. And one of my good colleagues, one of my friends, he said to me one day, he said, that's a blessing. It's a blessing that these drugs like thalidomide had such horrendous deformities. It was a blessing. And I thought, what do you mean by a blessing? And he said, well, because it was so horrendous a deformity, they were able to catch it before it had been in the market for too long. So he said, what if there was a drug that the effect of the drug was just, it lowered the IQ 10 points? A small drug like this, something with a very small effect, might be accumulative over the years, and we would never detect it, because we only could detect these gross defects because of the reductionistic type of science. Well, they took thalidomide off the market. They re-engineered it and called it Benedictine. They wanted to name it after a monk. You would trust monks, Benedictine. So they re-released it as a morning sickness pill, came back on the market. When it came back on the market, it was used by my ex-wife about 18 years ago with my son, and my son was born with learning difficulties. They found out that in the neighborhood of 3 million children worldwide were affected by this drug. 3 million children worldwide were autistic, learning difficulty, etc., because of this Benedictine. This horrendous drug started creating problems. In the lawsuit that happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, They showed that this lawsuit, that there was dramatic difficulties with this drug. They sued the company for millions and millions of dollars for the damages. And the drug companies proved in court that they had no previous knowledge of what this drug would do. Because they had no previous knowledge, they did not pay 1 penny for damages. They're putting synthetic chemicals out onto the market that are doing dramatic damages, and unless they are proven that they know of the damages, they don't pay any type of responsibility. So it's a major problem. I started looking at more and more conditions of different drugs, not just bendictine, but other different drugs, Valium. The herbal form of Valium is called valerian. The valerian works. You heard of it?
Yes.
Used here in Hungary, used around the world. There's probably in the neighborhood of 300, 400 million people at least using valerian, using the herb. Get hot here. Let me take my coat off. And this valerian doesn't seem to produce any real side effects. Now, the drug company saw that valerian worked. They wanted to synthetically duplicate it, or not duplicate it, but more, try to make something close to it.
Reproduce it.
They reproduce it, synthesize it. And when they did, they called it Valium. They named it Valium after the valerian. Now, there's probably, about 100 million people taking Valium today. There's, out of these 100 million Valium people using it, there's 30 million cases of Valium toxicity. When I went to med school, they taught me that Valium was the safest of all the drugs. They said it was just so safe, no problems. It would have a short half-life, detoxifying, very, very safe. Well, here this safe drug has got 30 million cases of people put in hospitals. 30 million cases. Valium toxicity. There's Betty Ford centers all across America that specialize in Valium detox. But yet the valerian, we have no valerian clinics. Whenever I lecture to the medical doctors, I always tell them, when they get out of school, if they want to get rich, they can open a Valium toxicity clinic. But don't open a valerian toxicity clinic because there's no cases. There's not one documented case of valerian toxicity where somebody has taken too much of the natural herb. So as I started looking at this, and I started saying, is it valerian? Is it bendictine? I looked at digitalis versus the synthetic natural form. I started looking at all these things. I categorized over 800 of them. And I came to the conclusion that the synthetic process was risky. The side effects of synthesizing a drug, the side effects we produce are immense. We're producing this immense quality of iatrogenic doctor-caused disease from these drugs. There's $100 million every year sought in damages from these drugs. So I started to see this. This was a great big problem. And then I had to make a decision whether I wanted to stay with the money and medicine or be a wealthy American medical doctor, or whether I wanted to do some research.
So what choice did you make?
Well, I chose to come to Budapest and do some research. But there's a dramatic lack of freedom. I can't emphasize how much. In America, in many of the states, we have a cancer law. It's against the law in a room of 3 or more people to express the opinion that something other than chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery can be helpful for cancer.
It's against the law?
Against the law. We have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech works as long as you don't go against the drug companies. A number of years ago, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to a team of Argentinian researchers who showed that chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery were bad ways to treat cancer, that only natural immune factors would be the best way. They wrote this treatise, won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and if you get up into America in a room of 3 or more people and read the Nobel Prize,
It's against the law?
It's against the law. That's how powerful the drug companies are. The drug companies control so much It's a dramatic problem. Oh, here comes food. Is this yours?
I think it's the other way
this
around.
Is mine. Oh, yeah, thanks.
Kusanyo.
Kusanam, kusanam. Kusanam, kusanam. And...
Jag vet vad jag gör.
You wait for a joke. Again?
Jag vet vad jag gör. Close enough.
Okay. Well, you just eat a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit more of the story. There's a joke that I want to tell you about this. There was a woman in the south of America, and she's a prostitute. Her name's Billie Jean. And she's, kind of poor, lives in a trailer. And she's sitting out there in the front of the porch, and along comes her friend Bobby Joe. And Bobby Joe says, Billie Jean, I want to have sex. How much is sex? And Billie Jean says, well, it's $1. It's $1, Bobby Joe. And, well, Billie Jean, I don't have $1. All I got, 75 cents. So, well, she could use the money. She says, okay, 75 cents, but I don't move. I just lay there. I just lay there. You do your thing, and I just lay there. Because you don't have $1, you just got 75 cents. Okay. So he's going to it, and she starts getting aroused, and then she says, Bobby Joe, you better find something to hang on to, because I'm about to lend you $0.25. So the drug companies have fucked up my life. The drug companies have fucked up the world. And I just decided, it's about time somebody ought to lend the drug companies $0.25. Here I am in Budapest teaching at the local medical college. I teach medical doctors about natural medicine. I'm describing some of the research we did on cancer. We found that natural forms of chemotherapy were not only safer, but more effective in dealing with cancer. We published lots of different studies that just couldn't get funding because the synthetic drug companies wouldn't allow that. I'm telling my friend here different parts of my life, different little stories. One of the most crucial was about my son Daniel. Daniel was autistic because of a synthetic drug known as bendictine. And we were really worried about Daniel. What would happen to him? And one day we were both in the bathtub, and I was praying silently to God, saying, Dear Lord, give me a sign. And I'd been trying to teach Daniel previously how to say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't even come close. And I said, Dear God, give me a sign. If sometime during the next month Daniel can say this, then I'll take that as a sign that he'll be okay and I don't have to worry about him. And I remember just with tears in my eyes, praying silently. And then Daniel stood up in the bathtub, turned around and looked at me, and said, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And from there on, I knew I didn't have to worry. This has always been a sign with our family. Whatever we want to say, don't worry. We say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Well, how much was lunch today, Mark?
No money. Give me the money. Yeah. Give me the money.
It's the wrong place. It's the wrong place. That's an old neurolinguistic programming trick. When you tell somebody that they're doing the wrong thing, or it's the wrong place, the wrong guy, whatever, it always makes them stop. Gives you at least a second or two. And sometimes in that second or two, you can find a cubic centimeter of chance. A little bit of a chance, I might say.
Forget, you come from the land of the drive-by shootings.
Yeah. And Hungary's the land of the long-legged, easy, beautiful women.
Such a poor, ugly-looking country, don't you think? Intolerable peasants. They were much more profitable to us when they were communists. I'm sure we'll make money off them now.
I done an awful lot of work on this patent. I know you're making a lot of money on this. My expenses are a little underpaid. Maybe I can get some more of my expenses cleared.
Your expenses are very well paid.
What do you mean, well paid?
Well, building your second vacation home is a nice little perk, don't you think? And not only have we broken a few rules, we've gone way over budget.
You are kidding. The amount of money that you're making on these compounds in Africa alone is awesome.
All right, then. Submit your bills and I'll look into it.
I would appreciate it.
So Daniel and Kara, the proverbial question. The question that's on everyone's lips in America. Does the bear shit in the woods? And here you have the answer. The Hungarians have built a statue to this basic question. How much more positive can life be? But yes, the bear shits in the woods. Hey Dan, we're gonna go to dinner, and I need to borrow $5. Okay? Can I borrow $5?
No.
Daniel, come on. All right, yeah, I know you're hungry, and everybody wants to go to dinner, and I'm going to use my credit card. I want to borrow $5.
No.
Daniel, come on. Just $5. It's not going to break yet. Just $5 measly dollars. Can I borrow $5?
No.
Daniel, come on. Can I borrow $5? Come on. Everybody's hungry. We're waiting.
No.
Come on, Dan. Give me a break. We want to go to the restaurant. $5.
Okay, here.
Okay. Give me 5.
Must be broke.
Well, good. Let me try it. Power doesn't just come from the wanting something, the will. It also comes from the spirit and the brain and the ability to practice and train and vision and see things. That's what real power is. That's good. Yeah, block. Kara, I want to teach you something about self-defense too. You're kind of small, and it might be hard for you to overpower an attacker. But if you can keep a plastic comb like this in your purse or on your person, and it looks like an ordinary plastic comb, and if you can put the bristles up into the attacker's nose real hard and pull it to the side, it produces a neurological impulse because there's so many nerves in the nose. It goes right into the brain, and it completely demobilizes, and it can just puts a neurological shock that they can't see, they can't think, for about 20-30 seconds. So when you do this, then you get away. Now you try it to me, okay? Ready? So I come at you like this, and that will produce a neurological shock. It's even more powerful than mace. Now if you're going to do this, you have to do it hard, you have to do it fast, you have to do it with all your might, you got to focus. You might only have one chance. This could save your life, and you might only have one chance at saving your life. Focus. Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Keep that in mind. You need to do it hard. You got to make sure that you don't get the dander too much.
Look, I heard a presentation at the Pharmaceutical College. You're really against the drug companies. But the drug companies buy us pencil, paper, and computers. What will you do without them?
Well, I think we have to think about the patients. I think we got to start thinking about the people. The drug companies are causing too many side effects. I believe that natural medicines can take their place. I know there's a lot of money involved. But I believe that what the people want is more care about them rather than care about their paper and pencils.
Well, you may be right, but you are going to cause a lot of trouble for yourself and for a lot of people.
Well, sorry about that. You want some peanuts?
No, thank you.
Boy, I must have died and went to Budapest.
I like your socks.
Oh, jeez. You're not supposed to see that. I have a pair of these just like them at home. Gee, another blonde. Now I can change my light bulb. Have a seat.
Thank you. Comedian, huh?
You're with the American team?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a presentation?
Yes, actually, tomorrow afternoon.
All right, what on?
Antibiotics.
Oh, I'm doing a presentation too. Antibiotics and AIDS, though.
Oh.
Well, she's a beautiful woman. They intimidate me.
Oh, come on.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
I find that very hard to believe.
Have you seen Budapest?
Yes, actually, I've seen most of it.
Well, do you want to see it again? Okay.
Sure, why not? Okay.
Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
Our next speaker was born in Canada and now works in Oxford, England, and is a worldwide expert in antibiotics. Please welcome Dr. and Professor Robert Martin.
Hi, it's nice to be in Budapest. I do have a joke for you. What do you call a carriage without any wheels? I guess you could call it a miscarriage. Our presentation today is on the therapeutic exchange of betaxine for betaxone. Betaxine and betaxone are third-generation antibiotics.
You are aware of the importance of this presentation, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Investors have pumped millions of dollars into research and development. I'm sure they'd like to see a nice little profit. So, let's not say anything that might threaten that.
I just thought that I should mention the possibilities of...
Jessica, focus on your job, the presentation, the one we discussed. You do like your job, don't you?
Yes, I do like helping people. Someone once helped me.
Good. Now's your chance. Go do a good presentation.
Are there any questions for Dr. Martin?
Javult a baktériumok rezisztenciája betaxinnal?
Is the problem of resident bacteria improved with betaxine?
Fortunately, the problem is the same.
Est-ce qu'on peut réduire les tarifs avec Betaxan?
Is there a cost savings with betaxine?
There is a major cost savings.
Tell me, why do you use these synthetic drugs when nature has alternatives?
That type of pattern has not occurred to us. We don't like to use these nature compounds. They're too dangerous. They're too unpredictable. The movement of history brings us the movement of technology. And this technology allows us to the world of chemistry. And the world of chemistry helps us understand and make these drugs. I can assure you, we make these drugs, are well tested, and a lot of hard work and dedication has gone into each and every one of these.
$100 billion every year in damages, and you don't pay.
I don't know that number. It's foreign to me. Any more questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Why are you avoiding me? Look me in the eyes. Don't look at your shoes.
I assure you, will have the safest remedies and most effective for you and your children.
You're interfering with our choice for natural medicine.
I assure you, will have the safest remedies and most effective for you.
Well, we want to know more about natural medicine, and you are making it so difficult for them to let us know what the real truth is about natural medicine. You don't fund natural research, you only fund yourselves.
Any more questions?
50 drugs are taken off the market every year because they're killing people. Don't look at your shoes. Look me in the eyes.
Our next presenter is a pharmaceutical technician who will present a paper on children research. Please welcome Jessica Jacobs.
I'm glad to be back in Budapest. Örülök, hogy itt vagyok még egyszer a Budapesten. My paper is on betaxine for the treatment of neonatal sepsis and meningitis. Neonatal sepsis is a clinical syndrome characterized by synthetic bacteremia during the first month of life. The incidence is relatively low, 1 to 8 cases.
Who is this Nelson guy? He's very intriguing, very intelligent, super confident. He's a threat to us.
No, he's not. These people in the alternative medicine industry are never a threat. They have no scientific evidence, no money, and no power.
Well, this man is different.
I've heard that before.
He talks about statistics. He clearly has a mathematical mind. He's well trained and he knows all the flaws in our industry. I believe he's more of a threat than you think.
I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. These bleeding hearts will never have the money, the power, or the political support they need to become a little threatening. We always find ways to pull these weeds out of our garden before they get too big. But if it will put your little mind at ease, I'll have him looked into.
I think you should. He could be more dangerous than any man in the alternative industry. This man has a clarity of mind.
If that's the case, then we'll have him investigated right away. I'll have our people do a thorough investigation of his background and his work. You get me a copy of the lecture he spoke today, and any other information you can get for me, and I'll look into it.
I'll get on it.
Good.
You talk about meningitis. Do you mean bacterial meningitis, not viral meningitis?
Of course, antibiotics are always contraindicated in any viral condition.
Det är bra att läkemedelsbolagen är medvetna om resistensproblematiken, men vad gör ni för att motverka det?
I'm glad a drug company representative is concerned about the resistant strains of bacteria, but what's being done?
We know the problem exists. Although it's not my expertise, I'm sure that there is being something done.
Ist das nicht wahr, dass Betaxin und Betaxan dieselbe Medikamenten sind und sie spielen nur mit den Patenten?
Isn't it true that betaxine and betaxone are the same drug and this is just a play to extend your patent control?
It is very similar, but the United States government has given us a new patent. Any more questions?
Our next presenter teaches here in Budapest as professor of medicine. His presentation is on antibiotics and AIDS. Please welcome Professor William Nelson.
Thank you. In the Sufi tradition, there's a teacher, and one day the teacher was teaching his students, and he was teaching about the heavenly bodies, and he pointed at the moon. Some of his students looked up and saw the moon, and some of his students looked up and only saw the finger. This is what's happened in science, is that for many, many years we've had reductionism in science, where we've taken the idea of many complex forces and tried to reduce them. In order to build this building, they take the forces of the weight and calculate how much that beam needs to hold. So reductionism as a form of science was valuable in building buildings, and building bridges, and building cars. Now we know that reductionism fails in complex situations. When I worked on the Apollo project, we put a man into orbit. And this was a two-body problem. The two bodies where we had the Earth as one and the projectiles number two. So this two-body problem was easy to solve with mathematics. When we had three bodies, we had the astronaut leave the spacecraft, all of a sudden the mathematics became very, very complex. The three-body problem was difficult to solve. In the body, in the human body, we have more than just 2 or 3 variables. We have thousands, millions, zillions of different variables in our body. Lots of different forces that we have to calculate. It's very, very complex. The drug companies have tried to take this and tried to bring it down to the two-body problem, so that when they analyze something, such as blood pressure, they make a pre-blood pressure measurement, give an intervention, then make a post. So they have two things they're analyzing. They're analyzing the drug and the blood pressure. But the human body is so much more complex than this. This type of reductionism does not work in fractal, complex systems. Science now knows this. Science knows that we need to have fractal chaos theory and nonlinear mathematics to solve these issues. Every place in science has reached this conclusion. Any man of learning today knows that fractal mathematics must be used. Nonlinear systems must be used. The one place that has not yielded to this is the drug companies, the medical art, which wants to maintain their reductionistic science in order to sell their different medications. I'm here to talk to you about AIDS and some of the research we've done. And one of the things, the new exciting research about AIDS that came out over the last year, an exciting new development where they found that if they use combinations of drugs, different combinations of drugs, they got superior results. In other words, it was not just a one-body problem. When they started using other drugs, they got a multi-body problem, and they got superior results. So this was exciting, but yet challenging to the mathematics. How do you now get a drug credentialed when multiple items might be usable? Because in the past, all of our legislature and all of our laws on getting a drug credentialed have all been around reductionism. And in a system that is not able to be used to calculate whether a medicine is safe or not. Medicines have been used for years and years, and every year they take 50, 60 medicines off the market because they're killing people. The only way you can get damages for these drugs is to prove that the chemical company previously knew the harm that it could cause before the item was sold. In other words, you have to prove that the drug company knowingly sold you a compound. They knew it was going to hurt, and they still sold it to you. If we could change the law and make them pay if there was any damages, then maybe we'd have a different type of mathematics and a different type of challenge that might be used for this. In our research on antibiotics, I started to see that the antibiotics affected bowel flora. Now, this is the microorganisms in our bowel, in our large intestine. This is such a complex thing. There's over 50 different bacteria, different funguses, different microorganisms existing in our bowel. It's so vastly complex. It's so complex that it cannot be reduced by modern science. And because it's not reducible, it's not studied. But it's bacteria, and now we're taking antibiotics which kill bacteria, upsetting a highly important process in our gut. A process that's important for our vitamins and important for many different factors in our body. A very, very complex situation. Basically, the paper that I've written is how I've shown that the more antibiotics we give the AIDS patients, the quicker they die. The categories of people who get AIDS are the homosexuals and the small children, and these are the two categories that get the most amount of antibiotics. Antibiotics now has fallen and has crashed as an institution. We now know this. Last year, Newsweek had an article, "The End of Antibiotics." The antibiotic generation has failed. The reductionistic science has failed. We need to look at other different factors. We need to look at cofactors. We talk about AIDS, we talk about cofactors. We talk about two things that when each independently doesn't hurt, but when they're together, they might hurt. And this is what we found about the AIDS virus and antibiotics. Separately, they're not so much danger, but when used together, they're deadly. This is what happens to our AIDS patients. This is some of the research we found. Another cofactor is the destruction of the lymphoid tissue, destruction of the adenoids, the tonsils, and the appendix. These are meaningful tissues for the body. These are meaningful defense of viruses, defense of allergies. This is important for us. This is important in our bodies. And when we sacrifice this tissue due to butchery or surgery, whatever you want to call it, what we're doing is weakening the human body, and weakening the body's ability to defend against all viruses, and especially the AIDS virus. This is some of the research we've done. Now, what can we do? What's the solution? I've given you some doom and gloom about antibiotics. A vast, large complex of money that's being out there, developed. The Bible tells us the healing of the nation will come from the leaves of the field. The healing of the nations will come from the leaves of the field. And this is something that I've always believed. And I started to find out that the complexity of nature matches the complexity of the human body, because we're both natural entities. Natural. This is not just a natural fad going around. This is now people starting to realize that natural is a mechanism of healing. The healing of the nations will come from the leaves of the field. Another study that I'd like to share with you is, I've been now in Budapest for a bit, and a friend of mine's often wanted me to study syphilis. He works with rabbits. Inside the syphilis situation, we know that previous to till now, there's been no way to get immunological defense to syphilis. Once you get syphilis, you do not develop immunity to the second exposure. This is a bacterial invasion which is epidemic in the world today. The World Health Organization estimates that there will be 50 million new cases of syphilis next year. 50 million new cases. It's a horrendous disease. This friend asked me for years to do some studies with his rabbits. We worked a homeopathic development. I worked up a drug, homeopathically developed, natural entities. We used it on a bunch of rabbits, and what we found was astounding. Some of the rabbits were injected with a very, very heavy dose of syphilis bacteria, extremely heavy. 1 week later, were given the natural formula, and they had no change versus controls. But in 5 other rabbits that were given the natural formula, and then 1 week later were injected with the syphilis bacteria, these rabbits had developed immunity. And for the first time in medical history, we have an immunological factor to syphilis. Homeopathy, natural medicine, has the answer to some of our questions, has the answer. This is a threat to big money, because now big money has put lots of money into the development of drugs and lots of money into the reductionistic philosophy. This money now is being challenged by the ideas of nonlinear mathematics, fractal theory, and all these other different new developments in medicine. And now a new consciousness and awareness of natural medicine develops. People everywhere realize how the drug companies buy, twist, and lie to make money. The drug companies put profits above people, and they use it to sell stock. Their time is finished, and all of their money, and all of their power, and all of the king's horses, and all the king's men won't put them back together again. Thank you.
Oh, there you are. I just was ringing your room. Remember yesterday I said I'd come by?
I can't believe you. How can you possibly be into natural medicine? Everybody knows natural medicine is nothing but a joke, and it's only created by idiots.
Well, I don't think so. I believe natural medicine is something that has to be evaluated and utilized. I believe this is the core and the origins of medicine.
How can all the science be wrong? You know there is so much chemistry. And what about the libraries and the universities? How can they be wrong?
What medicine knows about biology fills libraries, but what nature knows about biology fills the world.
I am trying to help people, and I am trying to do it with the best and finest science that is available.
I'm trying to use this science to validate natural medicine. That's one of the reasons I came to Budapest, because it's less expensive to do research here.
All these crazy natural people will sell anything.
Well, there's a lot of people who do that type of thing, but that's not what I'm into. I'm trying to do the quality science and to try to, test all the different products that we, come up with and develop.
You're just like all the rest. All the rest of the alternative people that I read about. I can't see you this way. I'm sorry.
Well, sorry about that, but this is my path of life.
Well, I'm sorry too, then, I guess.
Good evening.
Hello.
Have a nice time.
Stop any trucks lately?
Sometime, yes.
Didn't you used to play for the 49ers? Oh, smorgasbord, huh? Hello. Hello. I'm back. And, you don't speak any English?
Not.
No. Well, I need somebody to talk to tonight. Somebody to understand me. Let me talk to you. Maybe you'll understand. But my life has had some problems, and started off and worked as an electrical engineer, and I remember working on the Apollo project, and we put a man on the moon. Yeah, put a man on the moon. And they called me up, and they had to.
You were 6?
Yeah. Sure. But we had 30 hours to bring these men back. They went around the moon. We didn't know if they'd survive. And I learned so much about electronics and things. When I got into medicine, I found out it was just all chemicals and just all that. My grandmother got cancer. And I'd found that there were some natural medicines that might help. And I worked with these natural medicines, and I went to my grandma, and I told her that I had something that might help.
You were 6 now?
And she said Billy, she wanted to do chemotherapy, because all the family wanted her to do chemotherapy. And chemotherapy killed her. And when they buried her, my grandfather told me, he said, don't compromise. He said, Bill, you have something. You know that natural medicines work, and you know that the synthetic drugs don't. He said, don't compromise. It's not worth compromising just for money, just for comfort. When somebody sees a wrong, you need to change it. If a man sees a wrong, doesn't change it, he's not a man. My son took a drug called Bendictine. Bendictine was a revision of thalidomide. Soon. You understand me. It's nice to feel wanted. My son became autistic and had problems. The drug companies were sued because of the damages done by this drug. 30 million children were affected. Horrible deformities. And the drug companies didn't pay 1 cent of damages. And I was there in the courtroom when they gave that verdict, and the drug companies didn't pay a penny of damages. Millions of dollars of damages. They didn't pay a penny. Because they proved that they didn't know the damages, and yet thalidomide, the first version, did horrific things. Children were born with flippers. Children were born with horrible deformities. Bendictine made children have learning disabilities. And when it was proven the damages they'd done, they didn't pay a penny, and they got up in the courtroom and they laughed. They laughed at
You know sex?
But the drug companies laughed, and they laughed. The judge stopped them. The judge stopped them and said, "Gentlemen, I don't like your attitude. You know that you've hurt these children. You know the damages, and it's not funny." They let them go. And they're getting away with it. And I saw a problem. I saw that these drug companies were doing, and how they were robbing natural medicine of its abilities. And I decided I had to do something. In the Buddhist religion, they talk about right livelihood. That you do something right with your life, whatever your job is, that you do something right, that you won't do something that makes people suffer. And I decided that I wanted a bright livelihood. More than I wanted money, and more than I wanted power. And there's so many people today that choose money, and choose to sell drugs, and choose to sell guns and arms and etc., knowing that it will cause damages, and yet they do it. And if nothing else, I wanted to at least have a right livelihood.
No sex?
Soon. Because what would life be without some type of honor? Some type of focus, some type of clarity of mind. And one man can make a difference. And one man can do something. And I'm going to make a difference. And I'm going to make it happen. And you've been so understanding. Nobody's ever understood me quite like this. Nobody's ever helped me so much. Thanks for your understanding. I know you've understood every word. But I have to go now. There's something I must do. So. Goodbye.
Maurito hangilat, merte voltad bene. Bajos, cseve, odito satane. Emlékszel meg, Ramdezel.
Are these the tears of sadness or the tears of joy?
These are the tears of grace and self-discovery. But thank you. After having some deep insight and some ideas, I was invited to a party by some of the local doctors in Budapest. This little dog was one of the guards and wanted to make sure everybody that came in was greeted and met his smell test. This is Dr. Martin. He's going to play large up on our story here in a minute. So in Budapest, I found a home. I found a place where I could have freedom of expression. People would listen to the ideas of natural medicine. But in meeting the different doctors from Eastern Europe, I've always been greeted with an open-mindedness regarding natural medicine. An open-mindedness that I don't find in the English-speaking countries like England and America. Oh, by the way, dogs seem to really like me.
Ah, Dr. Nelson, it's so good to see you again.
Yeah, I see you too.
Yes, I wanted to tell you we got a very new idea, a new invention. And it would be a medicine. We already tested the natural part of it. Do you know the little small green toads?
The little toad.
Toads, yes.
Not quite a
toads.
frog, a toad. Yeah.
Yes, it's different from a frog, but...
But there's a green one that has a secretion from the belly?
Yes, we made it out of this toad's belly, and we already tested the natural stuff, and it works. It's really good for the blood pressure, it is good for circulation, to really work. So now we are going to get in the synthetic part of it, so we can really make a good medicine out of it.
Oh, so you want to make a synthetic, so you
yes,
can...
we will throw it on the market.
Control the profits more.
Yes, sure, that is...
But the synthetic might have more side effects.
Yes, the synthetic has some side effects, but after lots of testing we can produce a very good medicine that is...
But if the secretion from the toad's belly works, why don't you just grow toads and get the secretion and use this type of medicine?
It works, and it's really good. It has good affection of the whole blood circulation but we can make a medicine of heart disease out of it. It's a synthetic medicine, but I think with that we can provide the market.
So your goal in making the synthetic is profit motive?
Well, you know, in that case we can really rule the market, so I think it would be much better if people would have a medicine in their hands that is tested and chemically really good, let's say, drug from a natural...
But when you make it synthetic, it's not natural. It won't be natural anymore.
Yes, but you know, growing the little toads is some kind of a method, or let's say a system that is not only ours. If you understand me, let's say...
Or see somebody would steal some of your toads.
Yes, and we don't want, I mean, this is a tested medicine, and we don't want other peoples to, you know, let's say, play with the toads and create something different, so we want to make the right stuff, and I think synthetic way we can do that.
But when you make synthetics, you increase the risk of side effects.
Sure, and we can control the market.
Yeah, that's the problem with our laws, because the laws only protect patented synthetics. The laws don't protect natural medicine. But our natural medicines are much safer and have much less side effects, wouldn't you agree?
For some people, but I think in general the whole market needs synthetic medicine.
Well, because you need the profit picture.
Of course, doctor, we're doctors, we are trained to do medicine, and really natural stuff is a little bit far from our real business of
making money.
So nice to see you. Take care.
Say bye-bye.
bells of St. Mary?
Who did you see?
Dr. Nelson, ő az a doktor, aki természetes módon gyógyít.
No, that's impossible. I think you may be mistaken him for someone else, Grandma. That can't be true. The doctor you took me to 5 years ago was a different doctor. It wasn't Dr. Nelson.
Ő az a doktor, aki 5 évvel ezelőtt. Ő az.
That can't be. Are you telling me that I was given natural medicines instead of synthetic chemotherapies?
Igen, ez teljesen más. Ezek természetes gyógymódok, amit ő alkalmaz.
I understand, Grandma, but...
Hinned kell benne. Ő az a doktor, aki természetes módon gyógyít. Doktor, aki 5 évvel ezelőtt. Ő az.
Dr. Nelson, just what type of therapies do you really work with?
It's our basic theory that natural medicine is a superior form of medicine to the synthetic one.
Natural medicines? Natural medicines? You mean those type of herbs, crystals, medallions? These types of funny things?
Well, we believe that these funny things have been around for thousands of years and that they have healing properties. And this is our basic philosophy.
Well, science has grown out of that. They've gone far beyond the old witch doctors and old wives' tales.
Well, maybe your science has, but I believe that your synthetic generation has failed. I believe maybe it's time for a new science. I think that we need to bring in some new types of philosophies.
No, we don't use these herbs, because they're too dangerous.
Dangerous? Dangerous? I've been doing this for about 15 years. I've cataloged over 800 different compounds, natural herbs, and etc. And I know of no case where the natural item is more dangerous than the synthetic. In fact, in every case, the synthetic has much more side effects and much more dangers than its natural counterpart. Perhaps you can enlighten me. I would like to know, because I've been looking for this. I've had the belief that natural medicine is a safer form of medicine and effective. And I would like to know if there's an exception to that rule. And perhaps you could enlighten me and share with me a case where the synthetic is safer than its natural.
Well, I suppose I'm wrong. I don't know any case where the natural is more dangerous than the synthetic. Let me rephrase this. We don't use these type of natural ones because there's things in them we don't know what they are.
Things in them, they don't know what they are. I'm afraid, sir, I'm going to have to take this away from you, this red wine. There's things in here you don't know what they are. This chicken, this cucumber, this pepper. I'm going to take this away. There's things inside you don't know what they are. Every week, you and your patients consume a truckload of things that you don't know what they are. And you want to tell me about medication. Have you thought about this? It was the Hippocratic oath that you took, not the Hippocratic oath. These things that you don't know what they are have meaning. It's part of nature's world. Has it occurred to you that we had decided we're going to farm our foods, but you're going to synthetically make your medications? It is my basic precept that we need to farm our medications as well, that only the natural compounds are compatible with the human body. You make a natural choice for your food, sir. I think maybe your patients would like to have a natural choice for their medicines as well. The synthetic process is only generated for profit and profit alone.
It's an interesting challenge. Do you think you're up to it?
Want to debate?
Would you like to continue the conversational debate? Would you like to put your crystals, herbs, and medallions up against our science?
You betcha.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm just offering the dinner, and obviously Bill and Robert have provided the entertainment for us very generously, so why don't we join them in the next room for round 3?
Dr. Martin, I'd like to tell you something before we get started here. I've been doing this natural medicine for many years, and I've confronted many different medical doctors. And I have a medical training equivalent to yours, and I've also been studying the natural side of these things. So before we get started, I just wanted to let you know, because most of the time, within a couple of minutes, the medical doctor gets up and runs away screaming, admitting defeat. Before we start this, I'd really like to see you make a commitment to stay here and engage in some conversation with me for 30 minutes. Think you can do that?
Yeah, I can.
I want to start off by telling you a story about France. What happened in France? Very interesting thing. In 1980, France was a capitalistic society. They did a study in France to find out how much it cost for medicine. They found out that it cost $6,000 per year per person was the cost of doing medicine in France. France at this time was mostly doing the same type of medicine that you do, what we call allopathic medicine, which means trying to reduce symptoms. A lot of CAT scans, x-rays, synthetic drugs, surgeries, the predominant type of what we call, quote, modern medicine. At the same period of time, they studied, as they do most every year, how long people live in different places. And France was 23rd in the world. There was 22 other countries where people lived longer. This was in 1980. Homeopathy in France was 10% of the total business in the pharmaceutical trade, because the majority of the pharmaceutical trade in 1980 was synthetic drugs. Now, something very interesting happened in France in 1981. France voted in a socialistic government. Didn't have too much to do with medicine other than the fact that all of a sudden there was no longer a capitalistic profit push for medicine in France. The socialistic government took over most of the major industries, including all of the synthetic drug companies. People went from having to do quotas to just having jobs. Since there was no marketing push for their pharmaceuticals, people started to buy what works, what they felt comfortable with, rather than what they were marketed. And in France, the people started to buy more and more homeopathy. By 1985 in France, there's a major change. All of a sudden now, homeopathy is 75% of the total business in pharmaceuticals in France, 1985. In 1985, the cost of medicine in France goes from $6,000 per year per person to $600 per year per person. It's a major drop. By 1990, homeopathy now is doing 85% of the total pharmaceutical business in France. The amount of money per year per person stays at $600 per year per person. But all of a sudden now France goes from 23rd in the world to 2nd in the world in longevity. The people are not only saving money with their medicine, the people are living longer. And when 60 Minutes goes to France and they have the question, why are they living longer? The French people say it was homeopathy, but the 60 Minute people didn't even know what homeopathy was. So the 60 Minutes, they made the conclusion that it was the wine. It was the wine. I tell you that they were drinking wine back in 1980. It's not the wine. There was a change in their system of medicine. Now France is the second leading country in the world in homeopathy. India is the first, where 99% of the people live.
What about science, doctor? The scientific method has been so
Well,
good to us.
this discussion goes back and forth. And I've done this hundreds of times. Met medical doctors who deeply entrenched in their ideas on synthetic drugs, and only this story has a little different twist to it. This time, because of the help of one of their drug technicians, this story has a little different development.
But you don't understand. the finances, the power of control. You don't understand the hearts of these people and the things that they do.
The Jefferson Memorial, and Thomas Jefferson, one of the founders of the United States, wrote all different quotes that are his favorite quotes that fill the sides of the memorial. But his most favorite quote is up on top and circles around the top of the monument inside. Great big 4-foot tall words carved in stone. It says, "I've sworn on the altar to oppose any tyranny over the minds of men." And I have too, because I believe that the medical doctors are trying to tyrannize the minds of men. They're trying to control the philosophy of medicine, and I want to see freedom of choice.
Let me repeat myself, sir. You're not an angel. You're a devil. You don't understand the money, the power, the control that we have.
I'm just a man with clarity of thought. And when I saw something was wrong, I sought to try to correct it. Now, let me give you the big bomb. The big bomb is that there's been a major assumption by the chemical companies. They've had the assumption that natural is the same as synthetic. It is not. Not one study has ever been done to show natural equivalent to synthetic. Bioavailability does not show equivalency. Synthetic is different, it is risky, it is not the same thing. That is only an assumption made by the chemical companies to try to sell more of their patented compounds.
No, this cannot possibly be true. The chemical companies would not let me risk my reputation. 12 years of study in the education of drugs, if they didn't believe that the synthetic was equal to the natural. This has been scientifically tested, and it has stood to the test of time.
What Dr. Nelson says is absolutely true. No study has ever been done. Many of the studies that we do are actually slanted. Oftentimes we do studies on natural agents to prove their safety. But then we substitute into the natural compound. This way we can sell what we patented. The chemical companies oftentimes forge data and blatantly not report data that would contradict a patented formula. Designing new patents for old drugs is one way they can increase their profits. As soon as a natural medicine is found, there is a rush of money to make a synthetic version of the key ingredient. It never works as well. But the rush is for the money and not for the health of people. I thought you liked your job. Not that much. We are stopped from considering natural versions of drugs. I, for one, am going to stop looking at my shoes. And I am going to look open-mindedly into the evidence of natural medicine. What I have heard here tonight has opened up my mind.
What? What?
Didn't think you could take 30 minutes.
It's okay.
So that's it, huh? That's all, just you and your shoes. You're gonna spend your whole life looking down at your shoes and at your house, and what are you really gonna have? Well, I thought medicine was about more than being selfish. Guess I was wrong.
Bill, I've decided to make a change. I decided to accept the truth. I don't want to look down at my shoes anymore. I want to look at my patients straight in the eyes. For a man who sees it wrong and can change it, he's not a man. I can't live my life like this anymore. I realize now all the things of the past that I haven't seen has been brought to light by your work, Bill. I know I've been just drugging my patients, covering up diseases, hiding their symptoms, depressing and sedating them, blocking their natural ability by giving them steroids and anti-inflammatories. I must accept the fact I don't know anything of true medicine. I don't know how to cure people and use the quick fix. Oh my God, I've created junkies. I'm going to give up my life with the drug companies, take your classes and learn about true natural medicine so that I can get to the hearts of my patients and learn about real disease.
There is one thing more powerful than all the armies of the world. It is an idea whose time has come.
That was well back.
I told you, you can't have it here. You can only borrow one. I'd like this one back.
Remember that too, huh?
I guess I should just thank you for saving my life. It was you and your natural medicines all along that saved me. 5 years ago, instead of the synthetic chemotherapies that I thought.
I didn't know what happened to you. So you went off to the States, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Well, you got good English now.
Thank you.
Still want to see Budapest?
Yes, I'd like that.
Let's go.
Is the room secure?
Of course it's secure. So you're aware this Nelson could be a bigger problem than anticipated?
Yes.
It appears he's already been able to turn one of our top technicians and one of our most profitable doctors, Dr. Martin. This could be contagious.
The bleeding must stop here.
I want carte blanche.
Whatever it takes, do your job.
You know I've never failed you. I will need some special personnel.
The sledgehammer's available.
I've never cared for that Dr. Martin and other glory boys like him that keep pumping us for money. This Dr. Martin has always been a thorn in my side. The sledgehammer is perfect. It will be a pleasure to see him perform.
Eres tú quien domina mi sentimiento. Eres tú quien me tiene enamorado. He caído en tus mentiras otra vez. Engañaste a mi pobre corazón. Basta ya, basta ya. Eres tú quien domina mi sentimiento.
So this bill right here is Hadek Andrash, who was a very poor man in his younger years, and basically he rose to the highest rank of Austrian Empire. And what the story says is that if you rub his jewels, it will bring you good luck.
So that's why the jewels are a different color than the rest of the horse, huh? Oh, let me try that. You betcha. Hey, for luck. I need all the luck I can get. Whoa there, Wilbur. That feels pretty good there.
I've been expecting you.
Sledge, it's finally an honor to get to meet you.
Your reputation precedes you as well. Can you get this clean for me?
It's not my job.
Well, it is now.
Well, we have to get to work right away. Here's all the information we'll be needing.
How many people do you want killed?
It's in the file. Is this what you'll be using?
Yeah, a few people really appreciate the beauty of a sledgehammer. It's symmetry and balance. With just a quick flick of the wrist, you can crush a man's skull. And you don't have to be that strong. You want to try?
Well, let's go meet Dr. Martin then, shall we?
Yeah, I'm sure one of these has got his name on it.
Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? When all you do is look at your shoes. Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? When all you do is look at your shoes. Money and power mean nothing. Money and power mean nothing. Money and power mean nothing. If all you do is look at your shoes. If a man sees a wrong and doesn't pay his dues, he's not a man. He'll look at his shoes. Look your kids and the planet straight into the eye.
Don't kill him. I want to finish him off.
Don't go live.
Oh, God! Rain is falling on my head. It's all the rest of my life looking down at my shoes. Oh,
But that
God, help
doesn't
me.
mean the
Help
skies
me.
will soon be turning red. It's not for me. No, never gonna stop the rain by complaining. Because I'm free.
Help me, Lord.
Nothing's worrying me. Because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. First hit him in the eye, they can't die. And when they can't breathe, they can't run. Pull on his leg for a second, I'll show you. Now he can't escape.
Some people just don't appreciate all the hard work the drug companies do. You know, we supply jobs, we build hospitals, we fund universities. Oh, I could go on. For some reason, people like you would like to see us wiped off the face of the planet. This will never happen. You know, we too are starting to create our own DNA chemicals that are much more natural and safe.
But natural compounds should be made in a laboratory through scientific means like genetic coding. And change, of course, takes time. It can't come rapidly. It must come slowly. The general public is ignorant and can only understand a little bit at a time. At any rate, Dr. Nelson, I'm afraid you're going to have to die. But not to worry, Dr. Nelson. You won't be dying alone. Your family will be joining you. Yes. Untie him. Let's enjoy this.
The doctor said he's gonna die. I can't.
You can kill me. I've had enough. But don't kill these people. Don't kill my children.
Why not, Dr. Nelson?
They haven't done anything. They never hurt you.
They never hurt me? All these stories about synthetic drugs and what they did to your dumb fucking son, and they never hurt us? They all go.
Fucking drug companies, you piss in our fucking Cheerios. You do all this shit. You make us pay.
Oh, and what are you going to do to get us? This movie you wanted to release where you were going to expose us? Who was going to play you, Dr. Nelson? Brad Pitt?
No, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, that's a better choice. You are going to die a disgrace. We've already begun our smear campaign. We will totally discredit you in as little as 6 months.
It don't stop here. The people of the world are starting to learn. They've had enough of your shit. I just was a catalyst. I'm tired and I've had enough. You can kill me. Let these people go.
No, they all die with you. And I wish I could watch. But I do have a boat to catch. I have to oversee a large sale of Betaxine to a children's hospital in Bucharest.
Kill some more people, huh?
Business is business. Have a nice day, Dr. Nelson. Have fun, boys.
Thank you so much. They said that he was a goner, but he saved my boy's life. And I've seen you help so many others here. You've got to. You must continue your work, whatever they tell you.
Bill. Figyelj ide, akarok mondani valamit. You can't just quit now.
I can see why people have misunderstood you and mistreated you and cheated you. I know that all you have ever tried to do is help people. Not just Americans, but people of the world. One man can make a difference. And that man is you, Bill. You can do this. In real life, people lose and people die. Money and power are sometimes unbeatable. You can't give up now, not when you've come so far. Take this negative situation and turn it into strength, the strength that's kept you going all this time. Bill, you're not a quitter. And you haven't lost the battle yet. But you have to get up and you have to try.
Eres tú quien me tiene enamorado.
Thank you so much. They said
He caído en tus mentiras otra vez. Engañaste a mi pobre corazón.
Bobby Joe, you better find something to hang on to because I'm about to lend you a quarter. Let's do something really tough. Let's stand up and fight these people.
Well, you're right. This drug company's been fucking us and fucking this planet for too damn long. So why don't you guys Find something to hold on to. Because I'm going to lend you a quarter.
You want some more pain? I can administer some pain, doctor.
I'd really like to say goodbye to my daughter. I wish you think she's going to kick your ass.
Whatever.
Can I borrow your comb?
Sure.
Dad, look what they've done to you.
I've taken worse beatings when I tried to teach your mother how to drive. But it's okay. Don't worry about it. Sometimes in life you just get one chance. You got one chance at saving your life. Focus. Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Sometimes just one time. You think you can get us out of here?
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
That's my girl. You know, you stupid fucking asshole, you got the wrong people, you got the wrong guy, you didn't bother to check. If you look at the locket on my daughter's neck, you're gonna see we're the wrong people.
Yeah, right.
Take a look.
Okay, Doc, let's rock. I've had enough of your city.
You insult my family. You insult me. Now you insult my city, Budapest. Okay, let's go, asshole. I don't need to run. I can fly. Now my children can escape. Let's see. I got blood in my eye. I got a rib broke, smashed foot. Against one idiot with a hammer. I'd say that's about equal. Okay, let's go, schmuck.
All y'all oxen free. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Son of a bitch.
What the fuck are you, clown? You ain't so goddamn bad without your fucking hammer.
Yoo-hoo, doctor, I'm out here. Follow me to the hammer. Yeah. Now what you gonna do? Huh? Now what you gonna do? Now what you gonna do, eh? Come on. You wanna play? You wanna play with a big boy? Look at that little hammer. Ah! No, not again. Not again. Come on. Whoa. Piece of crap! It's over. You're done. End of story. No!
Paybacks are a bitch, dickhead.
How'd you do that?
You owe me $10, Dad.
I thought it was 5.
No, it's 10.
You sure?
Yes.
Yeah. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, huh? Okay, help me up. How are you doing?
How are you?
Don't call me stupid.
You incomparable!
You like that beer?
Dr. Nelson,
It'll put on weight. Gotta watch that stuff.
how did you escape?
Oh, a little creative thinking. You know, and I think I will make a movie about this, you know?
Oh,
But I think I'll play myself.
you won't win. You won't beat us. You don't have the money. You don't have the power.
Doesn't take money, doesn't take power, babe.
Yes, it does.
See this beautiful city, Budapest? There's an awakening going on around the world. Just like this. A lot of lights being turned on.
You won't see it.
They're starting to catch on to you guys' shit.
I'll get out of this. You know I'll get out of this. Yeah, I will.
There's a couple of policemen here to talk to you about the death of Dr. Martin.
I know nothing about that. One man can't make a difference.
Want to bet?
No. I won't bet against you again.
Well, we'll have to catch you on the other side there, Mrs. Armstrong. Wish you luck.
So there's my movie. There's the story. Hollywood wouldn't let this movie be told. There's too much financing from the chemical companies. The synthetic drug companies control too much money. Hollywood would not let information movies like this be made. But I think that you might like this. But you be the judge. In the news tonight, there are continued reports of the demise of antibiotics. More and more scientists feel that vaccination is dangerous and risky to our health. Claims that the FDA does not properly represent the people of America have triggered major controversy. In our story, new evidence has shown that 70% of all synthetic drugs approved by the FDA involve bribery and payoffs to FDA officials.
Is already losing its power. Doctors began using the drug linezolid last year to treat bacteria resistant to all other antibiotics. But they warn today in the Lancet Medical Journal that bacteria are already developing a resistance to the drug. Women over 40 are 12 times more likely to have the procedure than those under 30, even though there are no complications. A very good morning to you. People who eat pork could be at risk from disease because the Ministry of Agriculture ignored warnings. Sky News has discovered that government scientists predicted 3 years ago that pigs fed on swill may cause a major epidemic like BSE.
Here are just a few of them. In this pit here, there are 450 cattle. These were slaughtered more than a week ago now, and the stench is overpowering. I just can't describe how unpleasant it is. Just around the corner, beyond out of camera shot, there are some calves there.
The 3 people who are suspected of having foot and mouth disease may have to wait several days for results of tests. Among the potential victims is Cumbrian slaughterman Paul Stamper. He's described how he swallowed fluid from a cow's carcass, which exploded in his face.